Hi guys, welcome to Drum Dog and welcome to part 2 of our 6-stroke roll lesson. Now in part 2 of this lesson on 6-stroke rolls, we're going to be diving a bit deeper into what we can achieve with them on the kit, as well as splitting up parts of them and getting a little bit funkier with our accents. If you haven't seen part 1 and if you're not feeling confident on your 6-stroke rolls yet, then I recommend you check it out here. But if you've already seen it or you're already up to speed on your 6-stroke rolls, then let's get started. First things first, so far we've looked at moving our accents around the toms and the cymbals, but we've only looked at one at a time. How about splitting our 6-stroke roll to have one accent on a tom and one on a cymbal? First things first, let's have our first accent on a cymbal and our second accent on a tom. Let's see what it sounds like. Now, as you can hear, that actually does sound pretty cool and opens up a whole world of options again. But if we wanted to expand these options further, our orchestrations are always limited to what each hand can reach on each part of the kit. And as we speed up those 6-stroke rolls, we don't want to be crossing over hands too much because it's going to make it awkward to get around everything in time. So instead, to combat this issue, the best way to address this is to actually flip the sticking. So far, all of the examples we've looked at have been right lead or left lead if you're a lefty. Now it's time to flip that sticking around and check out a left lead 6-stroke roll. That's going to be right lead, again for you lefties out there. Now this might actually want a little bit of practice on a pad before we take it straight to the kit there. So just get a feeling for it. It's going to be the exact opposite to how we've been playing it so far. Beginning with a left accent, a right double, a left double, and then a right accent. Now let's tie that together in rhythm. So now we've got that feeling comfortable with our weaker hand leading. This time we're going to be using our left hand crash for our first accent and our floor tom for our second accent to apply this to a fill. Now that one does sound especially effective pulling off that floor tom there, but there is one more combination, again, we haven't looked at yet, and that's having our drum accent first and our cymbal accent second. Now, as we bring this back to leading in our stronger hand, that's going to put our cymbal accent in our weaker hand. So as we play these through, make sure that you've got a really nice unison between that weaker hand and that bass drum, because naturally they're not all that cooperative to work together for a really nice tight response. Now for this particular fill, we're going to be moving our right hand accent around the kit, just snare, tom 1, tom 2, floor tom, and for our left hand cymbal accent on that second accent, we're going to be catching a little hi-hat bark. If you're unfamiliar with what a hi-hat bark is, then check out our hi-hat bark lesson, which is here. This is one of my favorite sounding fills, so really do take the time with this one. Now that pretty much covers all of our cymbal and tom accent options for that 6-stroke roll. Now obviously the possibilities are massive just within what we've looked at so far, but for those of you wanting to take this concept a bit further and orchestrate your fills even more interesting for some pretty cool accent phrasings, what we're going to do right now is we're going to break down the 6-stroke roll into 2 halves to be able to manipulate your accents and to phrase different rhythms with our fills. Now, while this is still based on the 6-stroke roll, we will be breaking it down so it's no longer going to be, strictly speaking, continuous 6-stroke rolls. Now, as we're doing this, we're going to take our 6-stroke roll and, as I said, we're going to split it exactly down the middle and practice it as 2 separate halves, almost 2 smaller rudiments. So our first rudiment is just going to be a right, left, left, with our right hand accenting and our left hand playing a non-accent double. This is going to give us all of our downbeats, whereas the second half of the 6-stroke roll, our right, right, left, right, right, left, is going to give us swung upbeats. Now by splitting these 2 halves and then mixing and matching as we need them, we can access any downbeat or upbeat accent with a 6-stroke roll type application whenever we need it for different pieces of music and different accents through music. First things first though, to get the hang of this, let's just create a little exercise where we've got 4 times through phrase 1, followed by 4 times through phrase 2. Now you'll notice as we loop round this whole bar, as we get from our last phrase 2 to our first phrase 1, we have got just our famous 6-stroke roll figure in there. Now let's start this really steady, keeping an eye on still our dynamic range, and let's slowly pick that speed up. So we're going to have 4 downbeats, 1, 2, 3, 4, then upbeats, up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Now with these two phrases split, we can improvise just by mixing and matching these little groups of three, either a phrase 1 or a phrase 2. Now the number of phrasings and accents we can get out of this is near endless as soon as you combine it with our orchestration on toms, snares, crashes, hi-hat splashes. This really does open a whole world of fill options just using the 6-stroke roll. Let's take this to the kit, start nice and simple, and let's get creative with it. Let's see what we can make. 1, 2, 3, 4. I really hope you guys have as much fun creating your own fills and own ideas with this concept as much as I do, because it's super easy to throw around once you get those two phrases under your belt and feeling comfortable. If you want to see more lessons like this, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. And if you want full feature lesson packs where we do real deep dives on each subject, don't forget to check out our website, drum.dog. We'll see you again soon.